I love this show. Yo, what's good, YouTube? It's your boy Nick. Now, for the past year, I have decided to start watching anime. And the first anime that I started off with was Dragon Ball. And I loved it. I was like, man, anime is low-key kind of fun to watch. So earlier this year, after I finally completed all of Dragon Ball, I decided to get into One Piece. And I know, 1,000 episodes. Why would I put myself through that? But man, I'm glad I put myself through it. Now I'm only on episode 352 as of this recording. And so far, I am in love with the show. It didn't take me till episode 352 to fall in love with the show. It took me low-key to episode 90 to like 100 to really fall in love with the show. And I know that's a lot of episodes, but trust me, if you stick around with this series, you're going to fall in love with it. Because I definitely did. Before I get that started, I want to tell you guys about the things I love about the series so far. So this is part 1 of why I love One Piece. And we might have a part 2, part 3. I'm on Thriller Bark right now. I'm not done with Thriller Bark, but from Water 7 arc all the way from the start of East Blue Saga, what I love about this series so far. So I'm going to be talking about all of that in today's video. So if you do enjoy content like this and want to see more content like this, make sure you click that subscribe button down below and make sure you like the video so you can see more content just like this. But ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's get wide into why I love One Piece. Now I will say when I first started this show, I did not love the pacing of the East Blue Saga. And I will admit that was some of the most sluggish episode runs I've ever watched in my entire life. It felt like some episodes I was just forcing myself to watch and I wasn't enjoying it at all, especially Syrup Village. Oh my goodness, those flashbacks from Syrup Village. And sometimes I took a couple of weeks, months from watching One Piece because those episodes just felt so sluggish and long. But once the summertime hit and once I got off my cruise ship, I was on a cruise ship and I was on episode like 50 at the time. I was like, all right, let me get this One Piece show a shot. And I'm glad I did because I did like some moments of the East Blue Saga, especially when Luffy had gave Nami his hat. I really did enjoy that moment of East Blue. But before that, the scenes of the East Blue Saga, it was just so sluggish. Even Sanji's backstory was good, but man, the pacing was just god awful, bro. And don't get me wrong, the pacing is kind of bad still. Even when the arc I'm in right now, it's kind of like, oh, do you have to show this about 2 minutes? But trust me, those East Blue Saga episodes, terrible. But I will say, one thing I did like about the East Blue Saga, it did have some interesting moments that kept me hooked just a little bit to keep watching the show. The Arlong Park arc, that arc literally kept me hooked on the show. And I loved each and every single moment of that arc. From Nami's backstory to Yoshiko to all of it. I loved that entire arc. That was a good arc. Pacing still was in on that arc, but it kept me engaged. And I really did enjoy that moment when all the Straw Hats were walking towards Arlong. That was a peak moment. It kept me really to keep watching the show. And I really did enjoy that moment of the show. But I will say that arc alone kept me watching One Piece. And it's also special, you know, looking back at edits from the East Blue Saga. Even though the pacing was god awful, terrible, just looking at moments and how the crew formed, it was very good in my opinion. So a sluggish arc, and I know people are not gonna watch it because of East Blue Saga. You're gonna watch 5-10 episodes and say, bro, the pacing is terrible. But if you keep sticking with it, you're gonna enjoy this show. Now, next, I want to talk about the arc that made me fall in love with One Piece, the Alabasta arc. Man, everything about this arc was just special. From Vivi to her trying to save her kingdom to the funny names they have for the characters, man. Miss All Sunday, Miss Wednesday, even from the main villain himself, Crocodile. That whole adventure in Alabasta was peak fiction to me. I enjoyed every single moment of that arc. And plus, I miss Vivi as a character. Vivi, please come back. Like I said, I'm only on episode 352, but man, I hope Vivi returns, man. Don't spoil it in the comments if she doesn't. But man, I want Vivi to return so bad. I love Vivi as a character. But that whole arc, it really gets you the tooth and nail of One Piece and how it shows you about emperors and rulers and civilization. It really gets into like the meat and potatoes of what One Piece is about, and that's what I really enjoyed about the show. And the fighting scenes in there, all Straw Hats facing the Marines, and then battling Crocodile's minions and Crocodile manipulating the country. All of that was just like, wow, we're really talking about this in the anime. It was special to me. I really enjoyed that arc, and something about that arc just compelled me to enjoy One Piece, especially the flip the script moment where instead of Vivi joining the crew, we got Robin, which I'm glad we got Robin. I love Robin as a character. But I really did think Vivi was going to join the Straw Hats. I really thought she was going to join the Straw Hats. And when she didn't, that very much did surprise me. So I will say that was a one thing I was like, wow. And then, you know, after the arc, they played the intro of We Are. Peak song, by the way. That's the best One Piece intro. I don't care what nobody says. That's the best one. But that arc is so special to me. I think if you really stick around with One Piece and you give it a chance and you watch the Alabasta arc, you're going to fall in love with One Piece. Because that was the arc that made me truly, like, want to keep watching this series. even more than I would already watch it. So you know, because I used to watch, because before Alabasta arc, I would watch 1 or 2 episodes a day and call it a day. Now I watch like 4 episodes a day. If you watch 4 episodes a day for 7 days, that's 28 episodes a week. In a month, that'd be 120 episodes in a month. So it ain't bad to me. I mean, if you watch 120 episodes a month of One Piece, that's pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty good. But that arc really made me enjoy and really fall in love with One Piece. But that ain't the best arc. The best arc so far in One Piece is Water 7 / Enies Lobby. Nothing could have prepared me for that arc. Luffy declaring war on the world government to get Robin back, and Robin saying, I want to live. Man, I almost cried. I'm telling you, I almost cried a few times watching that. The Luffy versus Usopp fight, that took me for a whirlwind. That's when I was like, whoa, we really doing this. And all the Straw Hats, we losing Straw Hat members and all this. I'm like, what in the world is going on in this arc? And then on top of that, through it all, the Going Merry was gone after that arc. That shocked me like a whole. We really lost the Merry because we went to Water 7 to fix the Merry. And then we come to figure out we can't fix the Merry. I was just like, wow, that's crazy to me. And then after that arc, we got Frankie to join the crew. I love Frankie as a character. And then we got the Thousand Sunny as the new chip. That was like, wow, we really changed up the crew. The crew. We got a new crew member. We found out Robin's backstory. We got a new ship and a beautiful arc in itself. And we declared war on the world government. And we got our bounties up. That was just like, wow, what an arc so far. So I will say, as I'm on Thriller Bark right now, Thriller Bark is low-key a good arc right now. I don't know why people say Thriller Bark is like boring. I'm having fun with Thriller Bark. But Water 7 / Enies Lobby, that was the most funnest arc I've watched so far. But now I want to talk about the Straw Hat crew in itself. And I want to talk about not just individuals of it, but the family dynamic that the Straw Hats crew have. Now, when the Straw Hat joins the crew, you figure out about their backstory. And when you first meet them, you see them as a character and how they interact before they join the crew. And then you have them on the crew, right? And then you have an arc where that Straw Hat member shows what their character is really about. Every single arc, you have their backstory, what they're really about, and what they were doing before they joined the crew, which I guess is kind of still a backstory. You have this dynamic with the Straw Hats, and I don't know how to explain it, but other shows have like a family dynamic, right? Like, let me take, for instance, Scooby-Doo. Scooby-Doo has a family dynamic, but they don't feel like a family. You get what I'm saying? You don't really know the backstory of all the Scooby-Doo crew, or really why they doing all of this, and it doesn't feel cohesive. It's just like co-workers, right? But the Straw Hats feel like a family. When you look at Sanji's backstory, you feel for him, bro. As a human, it's like, dang. Or you look at Nami's backstory, and you're just like, wow. Even Zoro's backstory, for instance, that was sad. You really look at these guys' backstory, and you be like, dang, man, I want to root for this character. I want to root for this person. And then you see them in an arc, and you be like, okay, I understand this person. Like I'm so interested. One of my favorite Straw Hats, Sanji, right? And when they were facing the Giants right before Alabasta, and you see Sanji was going away from the crew for a while, right? And he had the strategy. He was the Mr. 8 or Mr. 7. I forget, bro. So many arcs. But Sanji was playing as a mysterious character, talking to Crocodile, right? And when he disappeared away from the crew, when they was in Alabasta and they got captured by Crocodile, who was there to save them? Sanji. He had that same Mr. 8 figure and had a whole plan to get the crewmates back. Just strategy-wise, right? And you see Sanji as a character, he thinks right before he does stuff. And then you have a guy like Zoro. Zoro's not strategic. He's more of a battle fighter, right? And you see these guys and you really like understand them as a character. Luffy, I'm going to get to Luffy in a second. But you see how they coexist or cohesive with the story. Or even a guy like Usopp, right? And you see why him and Luffy was fighting. He gave away to Merry because he felt like the crew, if they were going to give away to Merry, you're going to get rid of me because I'm useless, right? And you kind of see that and you feel that family dynamic from like, you feel like you look at Usopp, you think of him as like a little brother. Like a little brother, like the weakling of the crew or the weakling of the family, right? And that's how he felt. So I feel like that little family dynamic with the Straw Hats, you really do feel that in the show. And I don't feel like that with certain other TV shows, cartoons, animes. I'm not going to say animes because this is only the second anime I've watched so far. But with cartoons, you don't really see that dynamic play out like that. It's kind of like they're forced as co-workers, right? But with the Straw Hats, it's like a real family dynamic. And I really love the writing for the Straw Hats. Now for my ending statement, I want to talk about Luffy as a character. Now, when I first met Luffy as a character, I thought he was going to be just another Goku, right? Another dumb character that fights people, right? But when I look at Luffy, he really does mean a lot to me. And I know I said that about Goku, but Luffy really shows you never give up on your dreams. Go out there and tackle your dreams. Who cares what they say? If you got a dream, die for that dream. You know what I'm saying? Luffy shows you that as a character, as a person, that he doesn't care. He doesn't care what no one says. He believes in what he believes in. He gonna protect his friends. But the most thing that he's taught me so far is just do it. And I think we could take that in life as people, as human beings, is that just go out there and do it. Don't wait for it. Don't say I can't. Go out there and do it and enjoy the adventure of doing that. If you enjoy the adventure of your dreams, you will eventually reach your dreams. And that's what I take from Luffy, man. That's exactly what I take from Luffy. And I know that's a quote that I probably just made up just now, but as I've watched this show so far, that's what I felt when I watched Luffy. Enjoy the adventures of your dreams, and you will eventually reach your dreams. I'm going to close out the video with that. But if you did enjoy today's video, make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And tell me down below what's been your favorite arc of One Piece so far. And if you guys haven't already, I did a little info monologue about my time watching Dragon Ball. If you want to see all of those videos, they're in a link in the description below. So make sure you go watch those videos and tell me your thoughts and opinions on those videos also. Also, tell me what other animes I should watch next. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I'll see you all later.